Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of Keeping It Digital. This is your weekly show where we cover all the interesting things going on in the digital technology realm. I'm Agent Grant, and with me I got.
Vivek George, nice to meet you guys.
All right, so I figure since this is like our pilot episode, our very first episode, we'll talk a little bit about ourselves. People know who we are, and maybe get a feel for us. So, Vivek, you want to start things off?
Yeah, sure. So actually, Adrian and I went to undergrad together at NYU. Since NYU days, I was primarily working in India as project manager roles, but went back to the States, did my MBA, and now work for a couple of different startups. As a product manager, I've learned to hack a little bit. Just in the process of putting together a great product for everyone called Bueller.
So let's share with them something interesting that'll make them want to stick through to listen to the rest of our banter for the next 14 minutes. Like, what can you share with them, like one of your favorite tech stories or something you've done that could highlight some of your technical prowess besides your awesome white T-shirt that you're in right now?
uh, so that's a good one. You put me on the spot there. Uh, well, I guess what made me get into the technology space, Adrian, was building a mobile app my second year at business school. I actually had a full time offer at an investment bank. I had a bonus, all that stuff, and second year started working on a mobile application called DMA, and loved the experience, loved the product management side of it, the wireframing, everything, and I decided to give a safe career up in Wall Street and do something a little bit crazy and work for a startup. So
Man,
look back and I love it.
yeah, it definitely doesn't get more crazy than that. For me, my take on technology is a little bit different. So, yeah, as you mentioned, we definitely met at NYU, and for me, one of the interesting things that I've done, I'm really proud of, is the fact that in the college, I made quite a little bit of money hacking T-Mobile Sidekicks. Those were the devices at the time, and selling those on the black or gray market. Self-taught coder, self-taught hacker, self-taught barista, self-taught cocktail mixer. I do it all. But let's get things started, man. I don't want to spend too much time talking about us. Let's get things started and talk about some interesting things that happen with Bing, and they're getting into the whole social search thing. Google, they have Google Search Plus Your World, which is probably the worst title for a product ever created. Um, but Vivek, you want to intro this? 'Cause I know you're a big Bing guy. You're the only user of Bing, so why don't you go ahead and introduce this topic?
Sure, yeah, definitely. You know that I'm the default Bing search person on my browser and on my mobile device. Uh, not so much that I think it's a better product than Google, but more just because I think healthy competition breeds a better product. And I think Bing, most recently, in regards to our discussion today, has really stepped it up. Google, over the last 2 years, I think since Bing came
So
out,
what is Bing? What did they launch recently? Like
yeah,
what exactly
sure.
is new about their
Sure,
search?
sure. So, just to give a little background, so Bing launched. Bing was a Microsoft search engine. It launched, I think about 3, 4 years ago. It was a totally new search engine for Microsoft. They really started from scratch, and been slowly gaining market share. Through their own site and also through sites that they work with, primarily Yahoo. And I think through themselves and Yahoo and some other affiliate sites, they have about 30% of the market share in search, while Google's in the high 60s. So that's where really most of the search is done between these two players. And most recently, Bing has really stepped up their game. Last week, they announced a really strong partnership with both Facebook, Twitter, and a few other social networks, and they are going to continue to add social networks to their array, including Foursquare, possibly Tumblr,
So
Yelp, some other sources.
So how it works basically is people go to Bing.com and they put in a search, and in addition to their usual search results, basically they'll get on the far right, they'll get a social pane where they could see, these are the things that your friends are saying about that particular query that you just put in through Bing. And it's so far, like a lot of the blogosphere seems to have reacted positively to it, because unlike Google search, it's not just siloed it's not just showing you Google Plus results; it's showing you, results from Facebook and Twitter, and as you were just saying, possibly in the future like Foursquare and Twitter. So I could ask you this question, but I already know what you're going to say. You love it, obviously. You use Bing all the time. This to you is like sliced bread with like cream cheese. This is like the best of both worlds. This is like the greatest thing ever invented for you, right? Correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't say it's the greatest thing ever invented for me, but I think it's important. I think Eugene, you know some stats as I do. People say about 90% of people say that they trust the recommendations of their friends, right? So that being said, when you now search for something and you get your friends' suggestions for what the results should be, I think they really add solidity to that result. Not only is it an amazing algorithm that both Bing and Google have, now you're also adding a very personal component to it. If you suggest something to me to read or a site that I should see, I'm probably going to be more likely.
Or if I like it, sorry to cut you off, but if I like it, yeah,
you like it. That's exactly. That's what the mechanism Facebook is using. And on top of it, with this pane, they're making it this pane on the right side of the Bing search results. They're making it extremely easy to communicate to your friend. Maybe a query about the search result that you're looking at, and getting feedback very quickly about it. So.
Right. So you're definitely bullish about it. For me, the second I saw this story, I was ready. I was amped, like I always am, to bash it. I'm a Microsoft hater. I'm a big fan of Bill Gates. I respect Bill Gates. We both have a business school background, so you got to respect Bill Gates. But I was so ready to bash this. I was getting so ready for when we're going to get starting taping this vlog, because I was like, man, I can't wait to start hating on it. Then I actually started reading more into it. Then I actually started using it, and I was like, oh, man, this is actually kind of good. But the one thing, though, the one big thing for me is the fact that you have to connect your Facebook account to it. And that's actually, so to be honest, I didn't even actually connect my Facebook account. I did not try it, because for me, that's the one thing that held me off. So the reviews are great. I mean, I saw a couple product demos. The Verge has a really good recap. But the fact that you have to connect your Facebook account, I thought to myself, let me think about this. You mean to tell me I'm going to do a search, but I have to connect it to my social profile? Now, of course, Microsoft is a trustworthy place. I'm sure they're not, doing anything shady. But can you imagine if your friends actually saw what queries you were putting in to your search engine? You know what I mean? Because, I don't know about you, Vivek, but I search for some pretty shady stuff, bro. Like, I'm searching for all sorts of, missiles and all sorts of stuff I shouldn't even be commenting about. Yes. Yeah, so I'm just saying, it's like, hey, I'm a hacker. So for me, it's just like, the second I saw that, I was like, man, I thought it was going to naturally pick up the fact that I was signed into Facebook already and just highlight stuff that my friends have shared, but you have to connect to it. And I'm not quite sure. I tried to do a little bit of research as to why they require you to connect your Facebook account to Bing, because it's not like they're accessing your profile. Well, when you go to connect your Facebook account to an app, it shows you what they can see and what they can't see.
Yeah.
And it didn't say anything about accessing your wall. It didn't say anything about even accessing your profile. It just said something like being able. I forgot what it said explicitly.
It's going to connect. It's utilizing so that it knows who your friends are, and so how they recommend. Who's liking a particular site, who's commenting about a particular topic. So if you're searching, let's say you're searching tennis or something.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is in your group of friends and talking about tennis, it'll show that, right? So that's what.
But how come they couldn't utilize? My thing is this: how come they couldn't utilize the existing Facebook API? So I'm sure you've been to sites before where they show you in the right pane or whatever, like these are the stories your friends are sharing. So it automatically recognizes that you're signed into Facebook, and it can pick up what articles your friends have shared on that particular site. Now, it may not be the exact API query, and that's probably why they didn't want to do it. That plus Bing probably wants access to your Facebook account so they can have all this sort of rich data as far as saying, well, most of our queries are coming from the Northeast and they focus around pizzerias or whatever like that. So that's probably why they're requiring you. So that's the big thing that held me up from using it. So for me, again, I think this is a great – it looks like a cool product, but I think this is going to fall under it's going to, in history, it's going to remember this as a great product that nobody used.
Yeah, I think you bring up a very good point. I think the fact that you have to log into Facebook, you're going to have to log into Twitter to really maximize its capabilities is going to be a hurdle for a lot of normal users to overcome. I think people are very nervous about who they allow their data to, especially if you're going to allow all your different social networks get involved. It gets to be a little nerve-wracking. If they can somehow overcome that, I think they have to do that because they're pulling a lot more data than, per se, like if the New York Times says, my cousin recommends this article.
True.
That can use the API that is existing right now. But I think to pull what people are saying about different sites, what they're liking and so forth, and different sites, that requires another utility, and the only way they can go about doing it.
It's really interesting when you think about it. To go back to the whole privacy thing, people are comfortable giving Google access to their email information and access to their social networks and access to their social queries. But I guess the second you see a Facebook prompt, you're like, wait a second, whoa, I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. You know what I mean? I didn't sign up for that type of relationship. You got to take me out on a date first before you try to get me home. That's the thing that immediately came to mind when I saw that. But for me, so for the people out there that are watching, it's like, hey, Adrian, well, you use Google just fine, and they have Google Search plus Your World. They have the whole social stream. You don't have a problem giving them access to that. Well, Mr. Invisible Person that I'm having this arbitrary argument with, here's my stance on that. I actually don't use Google Search plus Your World. Again, horrible name. I do all sorts of cookie hiding and changing CSS and all sorts of different things to block out my friends, because unlike you, Vivek, I don't believe in the whole searching what my friends recommend and all stuff like that. I'm not a fan of that. My friends aren't experts in all the different things that I'm looking for. You know what I mean? I like getting expert opinions or the whole social graph opinions. I don't like getting just a couple of my friends recommended this is their best music list. I don't know. It's just not. I'm just not one of those people.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think like anything, especially in the social world, it's not for everybody. But there's definitely data showing that recommendations from friends and insight from friends motivates other people to make decisions based on that.
Yep.
So how Bing executes will be interesting. I think they have a major hurdle, like you said, in terms of getting people to agree to allow them to access their Facebook, and being very clear and transparent in the fact that your search results will not be in your timeline. I think that's another big concern. I think these days,
it's gonna be a lot of embarrassed people.
You're listening to music, you're watching a video on social cam, like anything these days. It comes up on your timeline. And I think Facebook has definitely not done an excellent job of making that a very transparent and easy to understand process for end users. So
that's another. I got a big beef with that. The whole on Facebook, whether it's Vidi or Social Cam, in order for you to access the video clip, you have to actually connect your Facebook account to the application. I hate that. There's actually a couple tools and plugins for those interested. You can hit me up on Twitter at Adrian Grant. Vivek is at Vivek M. George, correct?
Right.
You hit me up on Twitter. I'll show you some couple of tools to actually block out those applications or to circumvent those applications to get access to their content. But yeah, I do hate that type of stuff. I mean, it's great for the startup or whatever like that. It's a great way of hacking growth or whatever like that, making yourself viral or whatever like that. For end user though, it sucks. But sorry, that was a tangent.
No, totally great.
Yeah. So I guess what we're saying here is that if you have no qualms with sharing your social network accounts with a search engine, you should check out Bing. And if your searches get exposed to the entire world and you're embarrassed in front of your friends and family, that is up to you, sir. I'll stay on Google, and I'll give everything I know to Skynet, and they'll use that data and make money off of me, and they'll find some way to do something horrible and bad in the future. But I'll live with that then. For now, I'm comfortable with Larry and Sergey running ship. I'm fine with that.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So again, you can find us at Adrian Grant, at Vivek M. George. Anything else we want to plug or talk about?
We're just just the two of us are working on Bueller. I think that's the last thing. So keep up to date with our video blog, with our written blog, and with the site that's coming out. New updated rough alpha site that's coming out in the next couple of weeks. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, later.